Soundwave and I are back for another episode of Masterpieces. Yay! Lex is filming on time for a change. I am here to talk to you guys about episode 12, Synthesis. Just came out this last week. Yay, we're back on schedule. Isn't that awesome? Soundwave's happy, right? I don't think he really cares. He just likes seeing himself on the screen, I think. Just a bit of other news. I should have a couple of reviews out for you sometime in the near future. I did pick up a couple of things. Looky, guys. Looky. We got a Sharkticon Megatron over here. So, we'll have some stuff to review for you guys soon. But anyway, let's talk about this week's episode, shall we? What an episode. Oh my goodness. Alright, so let's just get started. The episode starts out with the Autobots, and they have built their transponder. They took Laserbeak's transponder and they fixed it all up. So now they can trace the location of the Nemesis, and Optimus has decided to go alone, to follow the transponder, to go save Ratchet alone. And I think this is something very personal for Optimus, the fact that Ratchet got stolen. Ratchet's his closest and oldest comrade, and he got taken away. I think Optimus is kind of saying, listen, this is personal, man. I think Optimus is pretty upset about this. So he takes off to go to save Ratchet. Meanwhile, the other Autobots are on standby and ready to mobilize at any time to do whatever it is that they have to do. Meanwhile, we cut back to the Nemesis. Ratchet, it's fun to watch Ratchet work with Shockwave and Knockout. Ratchet and Shockwave really do kind of work together and talk about science together, and they're both seem like they're both passionate about the project, and they come to conclusions together, and they're scientists on the same team. Kind of fun to watch. Knockout, on the other hand, is not a happy camper. He is not happy that he has to be Ratchet's bitch at all. And Shockwave's, nonetheless. He starts grumbling about how this used to be his laboratory, and he used to be in charge, and now he's just basically the errand boy for these two. He doesn't like it. But they send him away to go get something, and he lets it slip that the Decepticons let the Autobots destroy the beasts in the first place. And Ratchet's like, hold up, wait a second. You guys planted the whole thing? You guys wanted us to destroy all the Predacons? You'd set it up? This was a whole setup? This wasn't something we actually found on accident? What? So he just kind of keeps that in his head. And immediately I'm thinking to myself, Knockout, you fool, why did you say anything? Right, Soundwave? Reaction. Soundwave reacted. He thought it was stupid too. But anyway, Knockout goes to retrieve the sample, but he doesn't do it right. One of the containers gets lodged in the... I don't know, all these samples are sitting in this thing, and there's a sliding door, and one of the samples gets stuck in the door, and Ratchet steals it. And then, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the Decepticons pick up Laserbeak's signal, and they're like, what the hell is going on here? Why are we picking up Laserbeak's signal? We've got Soundwave back, and Laserbeak is back. And then Megatron finds out, and just knows, Starscream, did you destroy the Autobot base? Because if you did, what the frell is going on right now? What in Primus's name is Laserbeak's signal showing up on our screen? And Starscream's basically like, I'll take care of it for you. So, then we cut back to Ratchet and Knockout and Shockwave. Shockwave's presence is requested to begin finalizing the preparations for the the Omega Lock, and Ratchet finds he figures out the formula, and he finds out what the stabilized formula is, and vows that Megatron will never get his hands on it. So, while Knockout isn't looking, he takes some tool and creates an explosion, and there's all this smoke everywhere, and then Knockout has the guards come in, and there's all this smoke. Meanwhile, Ratchet's got the formula. He escapes. He leaves the room, and then Ratchet's alone on the Nemesis, just trying to escape. And Knockout informs Megatron that the prisoner has escaped. So Megatron, not only is this thing going on with this Laserbeak thing, but now Ratchet just escaped. There was an explosion in the lab, and the whole project is in jeopardy. So Megatron is pissed. He's really pissed. Meanwhile, Starscream goes out to meet Optimus with his armada, and before Optimus can get to the Nemesis, Starscream blows up the transponder. So the Autobots are still kind of left stranded. They're no closer to getting Ratchet back than they were before. So the Decepticons win on that score. Starscream actually achieved a goal and kept Optimus from reaching the Nemesis, so that's cool. Meanwhile, Ratchet gets in touch with the Autobots and tells them, listen, you gotta get up here and do something, because Megatron is gonna turn on this he's gonna turn on this Omega Lock, and he's gonna cyberform Earth, and it's not gonna be good. So the Autobots are very much aware now what Megatron's plan is. Megatron's plan is to cyberform Earth and get rid of the humans. And the Earth as we know it is going to be destroyed. But the transponder gets blown up, so they're no closer to achieving their goal than they were. Now, Megatron catches Ratchet and almost kills him, and decides that for all the trouble he caused, Ratchet gets thrown into a room with Predaking. And Predaking decides, I am going to do to this Autobot what you Autobots did to my kind. I'm going to get rid of you in the same way you guys got rid of us. And then Ratchet tells him, actually no, Megatron was the one that got rid of you. Megatron was the one that had the plan, and he tells Predaking, Megatron wants to get rid of you because he's afraid of you. So Predaking finds out that this whole thing about his kind being wiped out was actually Megatron's idea in the first place, and he flips it. He flips shit. Kind of just leaves Ratchet and just flips his lid. Now, and he goes to meet up with Megatron. Now, Ratchet gets left alone, and then he's able to go and tell the Autobots, like, this is what Megatron's doing, blah, blah, blah. And the Autobots have decided that they're just going to go in heavy. The Autobots decide, yeah, they have no transponder, but they're going to find the Nemesis, and they're just going to take it. Because if they don't do something, the Earth is going to get cyberformed. So they just have to go in heavy, all guns blazing, and storm the Nemesis. That's the plan. Anyway, Megatron and Predaking, meanwhile, get into this big fight. Megatron says, yeah, alright, I did it. I destroyed your kind and this, that, and the other thing. And they have this fight, and Predaking gets the better of him for a little while, but then Megatron puts him in an airlock and shoots him off the ship. And then Predaking just goes flying away. So we don't know where Predaking went. I'm sure we'll find out in next week's episode. But after that, Megatron says, get ready to start cyberforming Earth. So that's where we're at right now. Megatron's going to cyberform Earth. Predaking got flown off the Nemesis, or kicked off the Nemesis. And the Autobots are preparing to go big or go home. So, what an episode. Lots and lots happened. Very big climax that we're building up to. So next week's episode should be pretty intense. And from what I've seen from the reviews, some shit is going to go down. And I'm excited to see it. Honestly, it's going to be great. But that was this week's episode. So that's where we stand right now. The Autobots are going to go in. The Decepticons are preparing to cyberform Earth. And Ratchet is still on the Nemesis, I'm pretty sure. Predaking got kicked off. And that's where we are. So, pretty great, writers. Pretty awesome. I enjoyed this episode. This was a good one. Better than last week's. Last week's was a little slow. But this was a pretty good one. And Megatron, I don't know. He was a little scary. He was actually legitimately a little scary when he got ticked off this time around. It was a little intense. But anyway, that's really all I have for you guys this week. Or this weekend, rather. So I will see you next week for next week's update, next week's episode. So until then, This has been Lexitron, and thanks for tuning into Masterpieces. We'll see you next week.